handshake, and they are off. And opening with his trademark e4. Petrov.
Very safe.
Very safe, and let's see what kind of trouble Karthikeyan can stir up. And we're seeing, are we going to see something sharp?
So far, players are blitzing out the moves from memory. Bishop to e7, pawn to c4, or rook to e1 are the main moves here. Knight to d2 or knight to c3 also possible, and Karthikeyan takes a second.
Yep.
To the side.
And it's a quiet position so far, and the heart rates are very quiet too. I mean, take a look at that. Karthikeyan 91, and Nodirbek, Abdusattorov, suddenly jumped up to 106.
Something scared him.
Well, he's got more time than he started, and there we
knight.
see the knight. And what's he going to recapture with? To me, the bishop.
Bishop.
And now I always liken this bishop to a dragon. It's hovering around the city. What are you going to do? Kick it back? Allow it to live? It's a very annoying pin. First of all, he bolsters the center. And now go and ask the question to the bishop. Bishop steps back.
Well, still theory. Pawn to g3 followed by king to g2. I believe is the usual approach here. But Murali plays a very natural move as well. Rook to e1. Nodirbek's heart rate keeps dropping. He's not very rattled by this turn of events. Bishop to d6, steps out of the way.
Yep, the only thing that is not in black's favor is that knight on c6 is standing in front of his own pawns. Ideally, that knight would like to be somewhere else, and so you could go and...
Pawn to g4. He goes for
he weakens
desperate
the
measures to break that pin. As I mentioned, usually the more restrained approach is popular. I don't think Nodirbek minds seeing that. Some targets on the king side.
It is definitely. The king is very soft at the minute. I mean, moves that kind of jump out. Not now, but actually you can soften it up by playing h7, h5. And instead Nodirbek goes, well, let's trade off a set of rooks.
Yeah, not sure I'm in love with the trades, because now, after exchanging a bunch of rooks, the small weakness of the white king is no longer that important. You can just keep swapping down.
Ooh, is it a big decision now?
Is it?
Yeah.
H takes G.
That would be the natural one. But then suddenly it occurred to me that you can actually capture with the other pawn and say, let me use the open F line. And Nodirbek says, no. Principles are not there to be broken. You capture towards the center.
There comes the next rook, offering another exchange. Very solid play. But maybe he misses the chance to go for queen to b3, trying to put a little more pressure on the pawns.
And there we see a mass trade of rooks, and now the knight comes, and it's going to maneuver itself to e6 and plant itself on f4. But white is safe. As long as the white queen finds the path to its king and the knight sits there on d3, I think it's no problem. Too limited material to generate a devastating attack. But then again, Peter disagrees.
Pick black here because black now is very solid. His pawn can come to c6. There are no targets. There was the attack he should have gone for earlier. Well, Nodirbek can look for an opening around the white king. Not obvious how. Maybe bishop out of the way, then queen to d6. But first he tries to stabilize f6, king f7. Very, very solid.
Yeah. I like your idea of setting up a battery along.
Nodirbek doesn't.
Well, I think he will maneuver for the time being and try to use the clock. Because Karthikeyan only has a minute left. You know, he has a choice of his plans, and there's one. Expand on the queen side.
Abdusattorov always looks so confident. Look at the guy. Nothing surprises him. 18. But he's such a battle-hardened warrior already.
I know. And when I was thinking about this match, I was thinking of it in terms of David against Goliath. But usually David is like the younger person. And here, the Goliath is in fact Abdusattorov.
How old were David and Goliath? I never checked.
I think he was like David was the young boy.
Okay.
And Goliath some battle-hardened warrior. I'm guessing. I'm not.
Is like queen in any trouble there on this f5 square, like bishop f4 and g6? Maybe there wasn't time to throw him. Nodirbek goes for action, goes for f5, tries to break it, But white is still very solid, doesn't have to react, can just wait here, and that's what Karthikeyan does. Pawn to a4.
I actually really like what Karthikeyan's done. He doesn't have much time, 30 seconds, but he's coolly said, hey, there's some action happening on the queen side. Let's not forget about that. And, ooh, I'm not sure about what Abdusattorov is doing.
His strategy seems to be to play very, very quickly, put pressure there. But he hasn't managed to put pressure on the board yet. It looks like white
He's
is
conceding.
still stable.
He conceded the e5 square. I mean, the queen can just drop back to e2. Ooh, hang on a second. This is some fireworks going on. I mean, he's actually pushed his
Sure, I
pawn.
like this. Now there's pawn to h3 check is possible, trying to distract the white pieces a little. He's playing with fire here. Yeah, there comes the pawn. Nice little trick. If king takes, then bishop takes f4. I guess Karthikeyan missed that move. Now he's fighting for survival.
Yeah, 10 seconds. He has to take a decision. Move the king. That pawn is...
Takes,
Oh,
what is this? Bishop takes f4, winning a piece.
it is.
He goes back, he's just giving a piece.
Oh, and there you see the shake of his head. He didn't see it. 3 seconds.
Didn't find a way
Karthikeyan
out. He
blundered.
missed the h3, and it's over.
Totally over. And take a look at those clock times. 4 seconds for Karthikeyan. 2 minutes for Abdusattorov. And Abdusattorov with an easy piece up. It's just going to be a matter of technique there. You see, make those trades, simplify the position, and that extra piece will begin to count. There you go. The queen and bishop are going to coordinate beautifully on those dark squares. And there's another check.
Yeah, but not a lot of hope here, but you still have to convert it. And Abdusattorov maybe a little annoyed that he's allowing some checks there by the white queen.
But calmly calculated.
Threatening checkmate. Yeah, this is...
And did you see the hesitation? He was almost
Wondering if
reaching
bishop
to grab.
f4 is checkmate. If he can calculate this till checkmate, which he probably can. But he decides, let's take the safe route. Take the pawn.
Diplomatic.
Leave the cannoli.
Exactly. And the white king trying to hide. It's not going to hide for too long.
You can run, but you cannot hide.
No.
I never understood why. Because usually you can hide, and then if you're caught, you can run again.
Not if you're hidden in a corner. And there you go.
Resigns.
Hands outstretched. Abdusattorov wins with the black pieces. He's going to open with... Oh, yes, I was going to say queen's pawn. And we see a Sicilian. And is he going to...
Oh, the Alapin. Very solid choice by Abdusattorov. Also trying to maybe slightly surprise his opponent.
And
He's thought this through.
oh, I was wondering whether we were going to see that odd trick, but no, we're not. Okay, bishop goes back. This is very similar to his game yesterday against Kukash, but now there's been a change, and we see Karthikeyan moving his pieces very quickly, breaking out in the center, and Abdusattorov has to do the same. His pieces are sleeping there on the queen side.
Yeah, this is all still theory. They're following a game, for example, by Jorn van Foreys to beat Daniel Dubov in this line. It's not supposed to be anything special for white, but Abdusattorov just showing that he's got a lot of range, can play a lot of openings, lots of stuff.
And for Nodirbek, the excitement is perhaps getting to him because he went over 100, whereas Karthikeyan seems to say, well, you know, I'm in that must-win situation. I'm feeling no pressure.
Saying, I got nothing to lose. I'm the
Exactly.
qualifier here, already made it further than anybody expected. So this, in a way, is a free roll. Although, I'm sure he really, really wants to come back here.
He definitely does. And, okay, how is Nodirbek going to release the tension? Instead, he applies more pressure and, ooh,
Oh, he takes the
took
knight.
that. That's
Knight on
a
the rim.
risky decision, and we were talking about chaos, and that button has been activated because look at this, kings are on the opposite side of the board. And that means pawns are gonna start rolling forward. Someone is going to win this game. This is really all three results possible.
I like how Karthikeyan did. This is really the best you can hope for from this opening. to have kings on opposite sides and a little tension there. I'm not sure if it's objectively great, but the engine bar seems to say that even for computers this position is fine. So good job by him. But
What's it? No.
no, don't give too many bishops.
No.
He's going for the pawn. Do we like that? Pawn up, white has 2 bishops.
No, I was a fan of just rolling the pawns forward on the king side. This is a bit too greedy for my own liking. I mean, white's 2 bishops are just powerful, and Nodirbek so good with dynamic pieces. And
Look how focused Nodirbek is. He's saying, all right, you're bringing some heat. Time to lock in.
well, Nodirbek thinking hard. What's he gonna do?
It's not obvious what to play at least.
No, I was
Me?
looking.
Maybe. Oh, all the way back. Regrouping the bishop. The bishop looked pretty, but it was on this so-called empty diagonal. Didn't really have any targets.
No,
Just trying to find more work for it.
and it
Good
does have a diagonal now. It's gonna plant itself on the f4 square and ooh, start eyeing up that knight and queen. This is already unpleasant for black.
Yeah. Karthikeyan also spending time here. Down to a minute almost. Let's not forget he's in a must-win situation. Sorry, this is not gonna be easy. The rook has to go back. And he sacrifices. He offers an exchange sacrifice, trying not to give up the initiative.
But does it work? I mean, the first thing I would do is snap off that rook.
I don't know, the g7 pawn is also tasty.
Exactly, but I want to do
Oh,
both.
he doesn't do either.
No, he doesn't. And instead blocks the attack. Also looks good, I have to say, because still there is some questions being asked both to the rook and to the g7 pawn. And Karthikeyan moving the knight. Now, please, take the rook. Get greedy.
But struggling with the decision.
Yeah, but I think he has to just accept that black will get active and grab the material. Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. 94, the heart rate.
Just take the
Is
pawn. He really
increasing.
does not want that rook, allowing knight takes e3.
The rook is I was going to say trapped. So I think good
Calculated it all.
decision.
If the knight takes the bishop, then he can take the rook then.
Exactly. That's a nice finesse there from the 18-year-old. And Karthikeyan, well, taking off the bishop.
Neither player wants that rook. They're really
Well, now he
begging
has
each
to
other
take.
to capture it.
And how will Nodirbek capture? Now, obviously.
Probably rook. They don't like rooks.
Oh, you've got to put your pieces on their proper squares.
Now the material is still equal, but I guess Nodirbek prioritized not giving his opponent any attacking chances, just trying to play it safe. But he does have these double pawns, so now it's probably his job to try to complicate it. Queen targets this pawn.
Yeah.
Still complicated, still very complicated. Karthikeyan now has chances. Because with c4 pawn, I don't see how you can keep it. Queen to g3 might have been a mistake. Now black is stable. He'll pick up a pawn.
Yeah.
Is Murali doing the impossible here?
It could be. And if black were to get into an endgame, queens traded, then black would be standing a lot better. And there we see he'd dive in with his knight.
He's forcing the exchange of queens by targeting the rook. Nice move by the Indian. Now, there is no way to avoid it. If you take the knight, then the queens get exchanged, the rook comes, and that rook endgame is very tough. We could be seeing an Armageddon here. This looks extremely unpleasant for Nodirbek, who's also catching up on the clock.
And Nodirbek not wanting to... Well, he has to trade off queens.
No choice.
He has to do
Coming
it.
to terms with it.
And 30 seconds. And it's dawning upon him that he is in trouble.
Yes, no good option. So he has to go for one of the bad ones, and he has to do it quickly.
And, okay, queens leave the board. Nice.
Oof, look at these pawns.
Ooh, not pretty, are they? And 23 seconds for Karthikeyan. And now it is
horrible
Nodirbek
white.
with 10 seconds. And, well, his position is falling apart. Now he just has to generate some random activity.
Something happened, gives the
Exactly.
a-pawn, but you can just take
Okay.
it and the knight returns.
That's
The white plan to generate counterplay looks very slow. He wants to put his rook on f3, attack the f7 pawn. Karthikeyan's onto him, covers the pawn with the king.
and moving on dark squares, and this is nice strategy from Karthikeyan. Look at that, treating the bishop. 7 seconds.
Push
and
the
it comes
a-pawn.
down. It makes so
Run
much
and
sense.
Okay, king first.
Nice.
You'll see an Armageddon here. I'm telling you, this is an impressive comeback. I did not expect him.
I certainly did not expect it at all. With black pieces, Karthikeyan, the online qualifier, and here it comes. The a-pawn is running. He's going to run 1 square more. And now the black king can just walk over to aid these pawns on the queen side. And players now under 10 seconds. Nodirbek making that move with 5 seconds to spare.
Fighting very hard. He's a great endgame player, but I think his position is too bad here. This a-pawn will just eventually advance.
Yeah, that's why the rook has to keep an eye on that pawn. And now Karthikeyan actually going for the c-pawns. And ooh, but this one is a race. But it's a race that black will be winning.
Yeah, he's managed to generate some play amazingly. Hanging in there, and you can see Karthikeyan getting a little nervous. 3 seconds.
Yeah, he is.
Hitting that bishop. So resilient. Nodirbek Abdusattorov has to push his h-pawn now. h5 takes g5 would be the typical umbrella.
And it's,
Oh no, he doesn't want the umbrella. Not a Rihanna fan. Not now, the king is cut off.
yeah.
This is tense.
This
Both
is-
players made a bunch of very quick moves, so they have a little time.
Yeah. And ooh, is the white king in big trouble? And then we see Karthikeyan shake his
What's going
head.
on? What did he miss? He can take the bishop?
He
What's
can't
the
take
problem?
the bishop. I mean, perhaps the rook can go to G and build a bridge. King going back.
I don't see any bridge coming there. Yeah.
And this is a
Karthikeyan
nice
back in
move.
control. Oof. Oh, hang on.
He can promote
get
to a knight.
Queen, then the rook has to capture, and it's
Uh-oh.
unclear if he can win this against the rook with the knight and the 2 pawns. Most likely it's a draw, which would be enough for Abdusattorov to qualify. Oof.
Oh, and this,
Yeah,
the
he
clock
will-
that
he
is
will
piling on the
manage.
pressure. 2
King
seconds.
back, yeah, now it's a draw. Oh,
No, 1 second, he's gonna lose on
Abdusattorov made
time.
it. Yeah, it doesn't matter, a draw wasn't enough anyway.